What's going on, guys, gals, and everything in between? You are on the sidelines with the Sideline guys. I'm Chris.
I'm Derrick,
I'm
and we
Dwayne.
are, yes, sir. I was about
Oh
to
wait,
say we are joined by a returning guest, the
The GOAT.
OG.
The GOAT. The
sorry.
OG.
It was
Nah.
natural habit and reflex, guys.
Nah,
I was
do it,
like,
bro.
whoa, wait a minute.
Do
what
it.
am I doing here?
Perfectly,
What's going
perfectly
on?
fine, bro. What's going on, bro? How you been?
Oh, wonderful, man. Happy to be back on the sidelines with the sideline guys, man. Glad to see the
Yes,
mantle
sir.
continually carry. You know what I'm saying? So we back in
Yes,
this thing
sir.
to toss some NFL free agent moves and some playoff action for the NBA, man. Let's go.
Looking forward to it, man.
Dude, we got so much to cover, so much to get into. I want to start it off clean here. So, the NBA season's wrapping up
Yes.
in 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks is all we got left.
Yes.
It's crazy to think
Yes.
about. Now, we already know this season they implemented all these new changes, and the playoff structure this year is going 1 through 10 with the play-ins. So, is it 11
hmm
or is it 10?
I think it's 10.
Okay.
'Cause I think it's 7 through. If I'm not mistaken,
Yeah.
7, 8, 9, 10.
7 through
Yeah.
10.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
7,
That's
8, 9, 10.
correct.
So it's 4 teams. Yeah.
Yep. So it's down to 10 on each side of the bracket, and then the play-ins work from there. But we're doing something a little bit different today. Something that I think honestly the NBA should consider because I think it really changes things up a little bit. We're gonna be looking at a full bracket 1 through 16 in the spirit of March Madness. It's only right. We're gonna be looking at the
Yes,
full
sir.
1 through 16 ranking of the NBA based on record. And as if there's no conferences, we're letting anyone in. Whoever hits that 16th team, that's the cutoff. And we're going to discuss these matchups, how they could
Yes, sir.
potentially play out, and try to come up with our own champion for this season based on where we think things are headed. Now, there's three of us here, so I'm sure someone's going to have to be the tiebreaker at some point to make one of these teams move on. But I'm excited to see how this plays out. So, let me just quickly give a little rundown. I'm not going to go through the whole bracket. I just want you guys to get an idea of what we got going on here. So, right now, 1 through 16, our first matchup, our first playoff matchup. So, let me count this off actually. Give me 1 second. So, we got 1 East, 1 West, 3 West, 4 West, 2 East, 4 East, 4 West, 5 East, 5 West, 7 East, 5 West,
Mm.
8 East, 6 West, 9 East, 7 West. So 9 teams from the East make it in. 7 teams from the West make it in. I think it's important to make that distinction because there's one
hmm
team missing here. The Purple and Piss. They do not have the record to be in that top 16, so the Lakers are already out. Something to look forward to for us because, we don't
Hey,
got to
no.
entertain the bullshit. But we'll move
Nah.
on. We
Yeah.
don't want to slander them too much. But let's start off with this first 1 versus 16 matchup. We have the Suns going up against the Charlotte Hornets.
Mm.
Please give your thoughts on this matchup. Health wise, I think Gordon Hayward's still out. Am I correct on that?
hmm I think
So
so.
let's
Yeah. Yeah.
assume as if
Yeah.
this is starting today and he's going to be out for this playoff series. What do you guys think about this matchup and how it goes?
Go ahead, Dwayne.
This one I see as a competitive matchup, but not competitive enough to give you a 7 games type of competitive. Maybe just a quick 4 to 5 game competitive. Given the fact you can't always count Charlotte out, they've been very even, literally, all season, and in all categories for that matter. So they're definitely enough to be a threat for a game or two, but not enough to get you through a whole series. So easily giving this one to Phoenix.
Yeah. I think it's. Oh, it's definitely going to Phoenix. That's not even a question to me. But I do hate that Gordon Hayward is out. His career is not going to ever be the same as we saw him in Utah. Like, just never will be. But which is sad because that caliber, that level that he was playing on in Utah. Oh my God, man, that dude easily could have been I'd probably say maybe around at the time around top 15 if he had continued close, even inching closer to 10 if he had continued on that trajectory. But um, I'm just glad Isaiah Thomas is back in the league. I do want to say that too. He signed with Charlotte for the rest of the year, so love my guy. But yeah, Phoenix is getting this. That's a 4-game series. That's not. They're not. Charlotte's not getting one.
Yeah, man. All I gotta say about this one, if I'm not mistaken, they're not in. Are they in the play-in right now? They'll probably be the 10th team or something like that if they are.
For playing for the East.
Yep, for the East. If you don't mind checking
Yes.
that on me.
Yes,
Yes,
they're
are.
ninth right now. Yeah.
Okay, great to know. So yeah, I think this year, no matter what, these guys are gonna get their playoff legs under them. They're gonna feel what that's like under those bright lights, with that intense pressure. I think it's gonna be
Mm-hmm.
good for them next season. I think they've built a lot this year, so you can't hate too much. But yeah, I'm thinking Suns in 5 or 6, and we don't got much else to really talk about. So we'll move on from there. Our second seed is the Memphis Grizzlies coming up against the 15th seed Brooklyn Nets. Now, this is where shit gets interesting, if you ask me. This is where
Ooh.
things get interesting because I personally feel like, and I'm gonna give my vote first this time. I'm going with the Nets here, and now there's 2 reasons why.
Hmm.
Matchup wise, they got problems in that front court. That's all I gotta say.
Hmm.
They're gonna have to overcome a lot in order to compete with Memphis in the front court. But as far as playoff experience, playoff grit, I think all of that stuff matters. And when you
Mm-hmm.
consider, yes, and I know Dwayne's getting mad at me already, but when you consider this is still a young team that is still gelling together. Of course, they got the third best record in the league. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the second best record in the league. So they've been doing their damn thing. Don't get me wrong. But playoff experience matters. And I don't think there's a team this far down that has that much playoff experience under their belt like the Nets do.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot will have to come together for them to win this series, but that's what I'm going with. So I can't wait to hear what you guys think.
Ooh. What you going with, Dwayne?
Yeah, we gotta
Go
let
ahead,
Dwayne go
Derek.
first.
Let Derrick
All
get
right.
this one. Go ahead, Derrick.
Um, I slick want to say I might be going with Memphis. And I'm gonna tell you why. Kevin Durant is gonna do his thing, bro. Like, there's no question. Kyrie being able to play now that they're saying the mandate has been lifted, he's gonna be able to play home games. So that won't even be a question. He would be able to play home games. But Memphis is deeper. Memphis is deeper, and I know they don't have the experience, but they have that grit. They have that dog in them, and that's needed in the playoffs. So I think this could actually get pushed to about 6, maybe 7 games, and I honestly don't know who wins this. I might just go ahead and say Memphis just so I can cast a vote because
So
they're
it
like
all
the way they're
rides.
playing.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
the way they're playing right now, without John Morant, because I think Morant's gonna be out for like 2 more weeks or something like that. Uh, the way they're playing without Morant right now is amazing. like they're, it's almost as if he's not even missed right now. Like, and you just add him back in, like his offense back into the way they're playing. I don't know. Um, I don't see Brooklyn having all that, like that same grit. It's different. Like, of course, KD and Kyrie are gonna do their things. It's everyone else. I'm more so because they're just not as deep. They're not as deep. So I'm gonna give it to Memphis.
The deciding vote. The kid from Memphis himself. Dwayne, take us home on this one.
Well, fellas, thought long and hard about this. Both compelling arguments here. Very, very, very great points. Where I have to disagree here is the experience factor you fellas talk about. That would apply to any other young team but this one. You see, there's a mentality in Memphis that they adopted and metaphorically turned into their own thing. They took the last mentality of the grit and grind and they elevated it. This team can shoot like that team never could. Number one. Number two, they actually do have playoff experience. Maybe not as much as that Brooklyn front and backcourt over there. Maybe not quite as much. But they got just enough to get over the hump because they have youth on their side in the greatest ways possible. But also, when you look at the fact that your two best players combined for darn near 100 points and they still lose, as to Derrick's point, we're just deeper, bro. We're deeper. And given this hypothetical sense of if the playoffs really went in this type of structure, that means we have the home court advantage, which means the road has to go through Memphis. And it's a very hard, tough environment to win in, trust me. When that crowd's on fire, we're on fire. And believe you me, that's without Ja. With Ja, that just elevates it times 10. So, honestly, there's no way. Ja just has a different breed, different mentality, and this energy is feeding off of his energy. This team is going off of the way he feels. This is the youngest old mentality team in the league right now. Maybe young at heart, but trust me when I say they are very old-souled. Horribly. Because they are ready to take on any and everybody in this playoff. So with that, they're not afraid of Kyrie. They're not afraid of Kevin Durant. They know very well who those two individuals are. And the way I see this team, bro, is very similar to the way Derrick can agree. Many see Boston. From the time they started out as young guns, they weren't afraid to take on anybody. All the way to the point of easily getting to the Eastern Conference Finals, where the true challenge is always met for any young team, for the most part. Much like we saw with Trae Young's Atlanta Hawks last year, a young team that's not afraid to get to the next level, and learn from that Eastern Conference Finals, of course. So I'm definitely giving the edge to Memphis on this one. Also, it doesn't help Brooklyn, the fact that they traded for a guy who still has yet to play for them too. So there's also that factor, which had that guy probably been around, I'd still take Memphis. Even with Ben Simmons. I'd still take Memphis. I know you probably thought I was going to go and say, oh yeah, I'd give that. No, I'd still take Memphis because that guy can't shoot. He can defend, but at the end of the day, he can't shoot, and that's not going to help their case. So there's that too, But
so do you guys think 6 games?
To that...
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say if you guys think 6 or 7 games.
I respect Brooklyn enough to say, or I should say, I respect Kyrie and KD enough to say this would go a full 7. I respect them enough that much.
Oh, it's gonna go 7.
Be the tiebreaker.
It would go 7. Cool. Yeah, it would go 7.
So what were you gonna say, Derrick?
Yeah.
Before we move on.
Oh, that I think that Ben Simmons' defense would drastically change this matchup. I think it would. His offense wouldn't, but his defense would. His ability to assist and all that stuff, like all that other stuff, because he doesn't need to shoot.
True, but
that's not needed.
Neither does Ja either. So the thing about it is that cancels out too. We got just as much defense as that one person. So you put anybody on Simmons, Desmond Bane, Dylan Brooks, or Clark. I mean, at the end of the day, man, like I said, it's a whole mentality versus a one sole person that can help them elevate just a little bit. At the end of the day, it's an offensive-led league, and we know when it comes down to it, just look at that series with Atlanta last year. He's out of Philly for a reason, When it comes down to it, what can you do for me if you're at the free throw line? What can you do for me if we need you to hit the last shot?
No brainer. Yep.
Yeah.
No brainer. But yeah, I thought this was actually should be 6. So I'm interested in the way this is playing out. But we'll move on from that one. We got our 3rd seed. Now bear with me here because I gotta find it. Golden State Warriors going up against the 14th seed Toronto Raptors. Now, in fairness, I just want to make it a point because we're assuming Ja Morant's playing the series, so we might as well act like for the most part Steph is healthy and all that.
Mm-hmm.
But Wiseman's out, that's confirmed, so we don't have to consider that aspect of that matchup. What do you guys think about Golden State versus Toronto?
The way they're playing right now, the way Golden State is playing right now is not inspired basketball at all, and I don't know what that is. I don't get that. I don't get that. It can't be that just because Steph is not out there that you're not able to play sound basketball. You know what I'm saying? Like that doesn't make any sense. I mean, they've been doing it, for the last 2 years when they were down everybody but Steph. So I don't know how you switch like that this late. They're going against Toronto. That's a weird matchup. That's a weird matchup. I'm going to say Golden State, but I think that could go 7.
I'm gonna let you take the reins, Dwayne. What's up?
This is an interesting matchup. This is what you would call. You can't. You would think it's obvious until you really realize a lot of people have slept on Toronto and what they have quietly been doing. I think ever since Kawhi left from Toronto, a lot of people just seem to automatically forget that Toronto still has a lot of the pieces they had with Kawhi, just without Kawhi. Traded a couple of pieces away since the Kawhi era when he was there for that season, but for the most part, Siakam's still there, Van Vliet's still there. You still got a lot of guys who have that experience on top of a lot of other young guns as well. So it's a tough one. If we're assuming Steph is involved in this as healthy starting the series out, then I'm definitely going the route of Golden State. When Steph's in the lineup, it's a different vibe. If everybody's healthy at their fullest, even if they're not playing the best basketball right now, if everybody's at their fullest, from Steph, Draymond, Clay, and everyone else around there, Jordan Poole, all those guys, honestly, to me, I'm giving the edge to Golden State in a 7-game series.
You guys are hard on this Warriors team. I just want to say, I think a lot of the issues with their play really revolves around not having Steph out there. I think when he's out there, things are better for them. Obviously, before he went down, they were having some issues, and you know more than anyone because I know you were licking your chops in that Boston Warriors game where Boston really shut them out early and made sure that they stood out the rest of the game. The way I look at this matchup is there's too many problems on the Warriors side to patch up with the defensive-minded sort of Toronto Raptors team. I think it'll be fun to see Scotty Barnes really take a step up and sort of be on those main marquee guys at multiple points of this potential hypothetical series. But I think this will be over in 5 games. I think Poole is a much better player than a lot of people give him credit for, and I think he is. If you ask me, I think he's the 3rd best player on that team right now with the way Klay Thompson has been playing. That's my thought. If Klay Thompson's your 4th best player, you're doing something right. So Warriors in 5 for me, and that's pretty simple. We can move on from that one. So let me just fill that in. Warriors in 5. And we're moving on, baby. Our 4th seed, Miami Heat, coming up against the 13th seed Cleveland Cavaliers. A couple years ago, those teams matching up, it would have been an entirely different thing, something that we can't even imagine. But really fun sort of hypothetical matchup we got here. One of the matchups, if you ask me, that could actually end up playing out in the actual playoff race when we do get there. I'll lead the dance on this one. I feel like Cleveland is very good. Like, a lot of people that don't watch them play are like, but they're the Cavaliers. Please, I insist, watch them play. They're a lot better than people give them credit for. At the same time, I do think down the stretch they've had a lot of issues. I think early on they were gelling much better than they are now, and I don't think that's injury related. I think it's just sort of the grind of the season catching up with their younger guns. At the same time, there's a lot of problems in Miami right now. I don't know if you've seen Haslam threatening to beat Jimmy Butler's ass, man. I don't know. I think if there's anyone that I don't want threatening me mid NBA game, is Haslam. I just gotta say that he really will put them paws on you. But I'm definitely going with the Heat here. I would say probably in 6, but it'll be more competitive than first glance tells you.
Yeah, I actually think part of their issues has been injury related because you don't have Jarrett Allen right now, and I think Allen did a lot for them defensively that they haven't been able to really do since he's been out of the lineup. I don't know what's going on with them. I know Levert is there, coming in and out a little bit, but more so Rondo. I have not been able to catch a Cavs game in I think like the last month or two, so I don't know what's going on with him. But I think that's another thing as well because you don't have Rubio out there, right? He was one of the biggest sparks beginning of the season. So yeah, Miami is winning this one, but I think it's more so because it's injury related. Jarrett Allen not being there is big for them, but Evan Mobley is phenomenal.
Is he supposed to come back for the playoffs?
They said that he's supposed to be coming back in like 3 weeks.
So let's act like he's there because we did that with Ja.
That's right.
Yeah.
You're right. My bad.
You good?
My bad. Yeah, I think they could actually win that with Allen in there. I think they could actually win that.
So
yeah,
I'm
not sleeping on Cleveland. I'm taking Cleveland. I'm gonna take Cleveland in 6.
Dwayne, you the money man again, bro. You got another tiebreaker on your hands. This whole bracket is in your hands. Please let me know what you think about this matchup.
A potential sleeper matchup for sure. Even has upset potential to it. It depends on who can steal home court here. Because one thing about Miami, based off what we're seeing currently, is that you don't know who exactly is going to show up and who is not going to show up about Miami. That is what's both a dangerous thing, but also an Achilles heel about Miami, which is why I say I don't rule Cleveland out of this as a potential first round upset because of the fact that, at least with them, you kind of have an idea of who their guys are. But, with Miami, Butler's supposed to be your number one, but you got Tyler Hero, coming 6th man of the year type. Bam Adebayo, does he have the matchup to dominate, or what's going to happen there? It's a lot of different things you have to break down in aspects in a matchup like this, but I will give the edge to Miami off of coaching and coaching alone. And you have Eric Spoelstra, for that matter. Coaching battle wins that route to me. So therefore, because of the coaching battle, I'm giving this one to Miami in a strong 5 games. Very competitive 5 games.
I like that.
That's
that.
good.
Thank you for making some sense out of this bracket. Because if Cleveland would have went on, I would have been pissed. But
Hey,
I like it. I like the shout though.
I'll say this one thing. Jimmy Butler has been struggling.
Yeah,
he's been struggling offensively. So that, if that's him going into the playoffs, I don't see a switch for him.
Mm-hmm. And that's a good shout.
Yeah,
especially with all the other problems they got going on over there. We'll leave it at that though. I mean, just being in Florida alone, the armpit of the United States, you got some trouble on your hands. But they make it through. I'm gonna write in 6 because we had some variance on that one. So Heat in 6, and we're moving on. Our next matchup, the number 5 seeded Milwaukee Bucks coming up against the 12 seed Minnesota Timberwolves. Another dream sort of first round matchup. That's a tough one, man.
Yes. That's
I'm
tough.
gonna let Dwayne go first on this one, so that he's not in a position to be a tiebreaker
Hmm.
again potentially. I'm excited to hear what you think about this matchup, cause I know you sneak love Giannis, bro. I'm gonna put it on you right now. I know you do.
Man, goodness gracious. You know, this is interesting. This is very interesting because of what Minnesota has been doing, and Milwaukee being the defending champs. It's one of those where you expect a true dogfight out of this, the battle of the M's, if you will. But honestly, man, who's got the coldest weather? Not that weather really plays a factor into this since they're in arenas, but uh, man, you know what? Honestly, I'm gonna give this one to Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee just has a little bit more heart. A little bit more heart.
The
One thing
championship.
that yeah, see, they've already won. We know what Drew Holiday and Middleton and Giannis bring to the table. We have not seen Cat. I do believe this would be his second second playoff appearance, possibly third. It's somewhere around there. He's still very very young in this playoff game, and haven't seen enough of him to really know what he can truly do in a playoff setting. To trust him enough to be like, yeah, you're the guy that's enough to upset them. I can see Giannis easily dunking on Cat a couple of times off of just more, heart. He's got more of a killer factor to him, especially once you've won a championship, you want more, and honestly, with Milwaukee right now, a lot of people been sleeping on them, man. I feel like they've been getting a little disrespected as defending champs here. So I don't know, man. I gotta give this to them, but it's gonna be a dogfight. So I'm gonna go a full 7 games in this one.
I like that. I like that.
Mm.
I'm gonna go up next, so I could put Derrick in the hot seat.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna do
Um, I just I gotta make the case. I feel like the Timberwolves are a sneaky Western Conference contender. Like, and the
that. Mm.
reason why I think that is they got two. When you distribute your All Stars in the way that they have theirs distributed, you got both ends of the court kind of covered as far as making a mismatch, and that
Mm.
frees up some room for the other guys to sort of fill in those gaps a little bit better. I like the synergy that they have. I think they're look, man, defensively, there's days where they let people get by like it's not a problem. But there's
Mm-hmm.
also days where you really see the potential there. Like I feel like long term, when they're able to put in more consistent games, you'll be able to see sort of this team defensively is not shabby whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
Consistency would be the issue, especially against a Milwaukee Bucks team.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna make it interesting, man, because if not, why put Derrick in the hot seat? I'm gonna go with Timberwolves in 7 here, and it's gonna take Ant Edwards to go crazy, like to have sort of 30, averaging 30 points a game at least, to
Mm.
sort of give them the chance that I'm giving them. But give me Timberwolves in 7, man. What do you think, Derrick?
Honestly, and I would not have said this at the beginning of the season, but I think I'm going to go to Minnesota in 7, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think Patrick Beverly, since he got there, they've been playing like dogs, and you know how I feel about a team that plays like a dog. Like when you have actual dogs on your team, and you go for it defensively. I think since he got there, we've seen a different level or different attitude in Cat. He's actually being ferocious out there. And like before, and I don't mean this in a offensive way in any way, shape, or form, but he was a little softer out there before, right? And it seems like ever since Patrick Beverly got there, he is it's lit a fire under him. Almost like you remember when Jimmy Butler was there, that kind of like a little he had a little spark or whatever. It was just like this different mentality. I feel like he's got a like just that dog mentality in him right now, and he's looking to prove a lot of people wrong. I think you combine that with what Ant brings to the table, and D'Angelo Russell's offense. I, you're right. They're not shabby on defense. I think Giannis is going to do what Giannis does, but it's the other guys. Maybe even I'll even include Drew Holiday, but it's the other guys that I'm more so focused on to actually bring that level up. Right, a lot of these guys are not the guys that were on the championship team, and I think not having DiVincenzo there, I think that does a little bit for them as well, and messes them up a little bit. So I'm going Minnesota in 7 on this.
And this is what you guys don't get in the traditional format. We got a five
Yeah,
seed getting bounced in the first round,
yeah,
in a very competitive matchup. So I like.
yeah,
I mean, man, it's March Madness.
yeah,
A Titan had to go down at some point. But
yeah,
crazy that we got the defending champs out in the first round.
yeah,
You
yeah.
love to see it. I had to put the heat on you, Derrick. You took us home. I give it to you. So
Yeah, man.
this next one, man, this is also a series that I think we could potentially see play out. Our sixth seed, Philadelphia 76ers, coming up against the 11th seed, Chicago Bulls. Now, I'm gonna start this one off, and then I'm gonna throw to Dwayne so that we put Derrick in that hot seat again. But and then we'll switch it up after that. I'll be in the hot seat
Yeah, no,
after.
it's
But
all good.
I personally, looking at this matchup, you know where I'm gonna go with this, because you know how I feel about the 76ers. I think they they're the one team that made a big move during the year and actually came out on the better side of it. I think
Hmm.
they did the right thing getting Harden. Obviously, you need to win with a move like that, and I think they're gonna play with that energy. I think Embiid should really still be considered for MVP. The fact that they have the sixth best record in the league means a lot,
Hmm.
and it ain't because of Harden. Let's get that shit
Yeah,
straight.
yeah, yeah,
It
yeah,
ain't because of
yeah,
Harden. So I think having that MVP caliber player against a team that has very good stars, don't get me wrong. I think this matchup is going to be very competitive, especially, in my opinion, the Bulls have the much better backcourt. Like, let's
hmm,
make that
hmm,
clear. They got the
hmm,
much better backcourt. But it really depends on how things play out with those bigs, and I don't think there's very few people in the league that could contain Embiid, and I don't think the Bulls really have that guy.
yeah.
But watch out. I think that there's a lot of room for that backcourt to erupt and single-handedly win games for the Bulls. So I'll go 76ers in 6.
Mm. Ah, gosh. Torn, man. Torn. Torn for any reason. I refuse to be biased in this situation. I will be completely straightforward, and I will say, as torn as I am to say this, I will take Philly in this matchup. I totally agree when I say that we have twice the backcourt that Philly has, especially assuming Lonzo Ball would be good enough to even play by this time. But
Hmm.
but even with Lonzo in the lineup, um, health plays a factor, and I don't know if Lonzo will be ready. Even if he is ready, it still just seems like it would be too soon. Also, the one weakness the Bulls have right now is that size factor. They tried to get a guy like a Tristan Thompson to help out with that, but let's just be honest, even that guy is not stopping Embiid or even out rebounding a guy like Embiid. He will abuse that boy. The only thing the Bulls really have going for them outside of obviously their overscoring backcourt, I mean, Philly kind of has that with Maxley. They still have Harden and Maxley, so it can kind of match what DeMar DeRozan and crew would bring. I just feel like they would give better competitiveness off having better defense as a unit uh, compared to the 76ers defense. But overall, man, I think they would just be too much for the Bulls to handle until they get some size down low to be able to somewhat slow down a guy like Embiid. So, out of respect for the franchise, I'm gonna say they lose this in six. Six championships, six games. There we go.
Yeah. So I guess I'm not a tiebreaker, but yeah, Philly's 6, bro. Like that's not even a question. You're not stopping Embiid. That's I don't care what the backcourt looks like. You're not stopping Embiid. So
no, but Harden does stop himself.
Harden
That's
does.
also
Yeah, yeah.
something to watch.
Harden gets in his own way. I agree with that.
But even with that, I do agree. Embiid, though, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. Because I love oh my God, Vucevic.
Right.
Mm-hmm. I love him. But,
offensively.
Yeah, offensively. But defensively, nah, he ain't stopping Embiid. And it's not like anybody else is there that's going to be able to stop him. So I will give them, out of respect for DeRozan and Levine, I'm giving them 2 games because I just think there's a possibility that Philly could, trip up a little bit. But Philly's winning that in 6. I'm giving that in 6. So.
Now, I just want to say this before we move on. I think this ain't a question, but I would love to hear you guys' opinion on this. I think in the league right now, there's not a single player that is more complete as a player, offensively, defensively, the things that they bring to the table offensively, the way they impact the game defensively, than Joel Embiid. I don't think there's anyone that can do the things he does on every level. Like even the counterparts that he has in the front court, guys like Jokic and things like that. Obviously, these guys are great, but as far as dominance offensively, defensively, on all levels of the court, I think there's nobody in the league that matches what Embiid offers. Curious to hear your thoughts on that.
We're not taking this by position, right? We're just talking about in terms of skills.
Yep.
I think Tatum gives him a run for his money. If we're talking about comparison with impact on the offense, defense, assists, being able to guard multiple positions, I think Tatum gives him a run for his money.
I like that.
I think Brown can, but above Brown, I'll put Smart.
My man said, "Give me the whole starting 5, bro. Give me my whole starting 5." What's your thoughts on that, Dwayne? Before we move on.
Whew, I was pondering a lot of that because I feel like there's a lot of really, really good players out there. The game is different, man. There's a lot of versatility with being able to guard multiple positions. As Derrick made that case, there's a lot of cases I would have made for my guy Ja, just as much, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Just the fact that we've seen this man literally do one of the most amazing blocks, literally for a guy his size, that you wouldn't expect to be able to do something like that.
Yeah, that was amazing.
It just, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just, it just like size is, it's still important, of course, in certain aspects, but point guards are not afraid to guard a center these days. Centers aren't afraid to guard a point guard or a small forward. It's a very diverse league now in terms of everybody's trying their hand at things. And in terms of scoring, we could be all day when it talks about scoring. I mean, tons of people, have their moments of just, never gonna slow them down. I can make a case for Giannis. There's a lot of players, so it's kind of tough to really just pick, against that. But like, it's anybody, man. I'd say take your pick. There's a lot of people that can probably do it.
In the clickbait era, somebody here would have mentioned LeBron, but I'm glad we gonna move on with that. So the next matchup we got, I'm gonna let you homer out even more, Derrick. So you're gonna start us off with this one. We got the 7th seed Boston Celtics coming up against the 10th seed Denver Nuggets. Now, this is one of the more competitive matchups we got on this bracket. Really excited. Is Jamal Murray set to be back for the playoffs?
Doesn't look like it. I don't think so. No.
Good to ask, because that's important to consider. What are your thoughts on that matchup with everything as is?
Okay, this might seem like a homer thing, but just hear me out, okay? Personally, I do not see one team right now that is able to beat the Celtics.
Call the cops.
I don't. I don't. The way they play defense, the way they play in offense, they are not only are they beating teams, they are actually blowing teams out. Like it's not even a question. They're blowing teams out of the water. 7 game series. I don't know if there's a team right now hotter than the Celtics. The Celtics are the best team in the league right now. They just are. Um, Again, because their defense is just it's stifling. It's suffocating. Um, like Jokic just had he struggled against them. What was that last week? Early this week? Um, everybody has had a very difficult time against this team. So I'm taking Boston in this. That you don't have Jamal Murray. I'll go ahead and say 5, just out of appreciation. Just to be nice, I'm gonna give it 5. I would say actually say 4, but I'm gonna say 5 for this one.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
I don't know if I agree with Derrick in all of what he said, but in terms of this matchup, I'm gonna give this to Boston, assuming that Jokic struggles most of the series. Assuming. But we do know with true great players, if Jokic is every bit of what everybody is saying this man is, that means this is his team. He's the guy. And if that's the case, to win this series, he has to stop and literally get big. Because I don't see anybody that would realistically stop him if he's on his A game all the way. But if there's any team that's capable of stopping him, for sure, it is a team like the Boston Celtics, young, hungry, dogs. But again, when you're big, it's just like Embiid, right? I mean, we've seen him and Embiid go back and forth over and over. Crazy. We've seen Cat, we've seen DeAndre Ayton, we've seen all these bigs dominate. This man's a former MVP. If he's living up to that and it wasn't just a sympathy vote or just off of straight fluke, if he's trying to prove something, this is the time to do it. This would be a moment in a matchup like this. You got to beat the Celtics, man. You got to be the reason that they don't make it out this round. That being said, though, I'm still taking Boston out of this matchup, but I'm going to say in about 6 games.
I like it. I like it. So I just wanted to get my facts straight here before I come at this, because somebody got to do it. Like I hate. Listen, I love to see. Don't get me wrong. I love to see Derrick happy, but to talk about the Celtics on this level, it hurts me a little bit. I will admit. I just want to say, if you close your eyes, right? If you close your eyes, bear with me on this one. When it comes to playoff experience, when it comes to grit, I think this Denver Nuggets team, even without Michael Porter Jr., is deeper than the Celtics. Me personally, that's what I think. But when it comes down to this matchup, look at I love to see Derrick's face. When it comes down to this matchup, I agree. I think Celtics definitely win and make it look easy. But I think if Michael Porter's in this series, I'm picking the Nuggets, and I'm not picking the Celtics. I think it's hard to sustain the level of play that they've been having lately. And we'll see how that comes around playoff time. I could look ridiculous once playoff time comes. I'll let you rebuttal. But honestly, if Michael Porter Jr. is still playing right now, I would pick the Nuggets in this series. Go ahead, Derrick, before we wrap up.
Listen, it's not as if they've just kind of like started playing on this level just like within the last 2 weeks. They've been on this level since the calendar flipped. This has been since January, okay? And they can sustain it. I think everyone out there, when you're talking about dominant bigs, if you do not include Robert Williams in your conversation, you're not watching. You're not watching that man play. When and this is his first year actually being out there healthy. So I'm not going to say like, he's the best out there, because when you talk about the best, you need that needs to go on for a couple of years. So I'm perfectly fine with that without saying that. But when you look at how he plays like he is one of the best. He does. He plays like he's a top three center, and defensively he is no joke. So yeah, and big ups to Al Horford too at 35 playing at this level. So yeah, I don't. Porter could be in the game. I don't care. Porter and Murray could be in this game. They're not winning that game. That's serious.
I love it. I love to see it. I love to see it. We'll move on from that. Celtics in 6, because I will not let you guys put 5. The next matchup we
Wait,
got.
I said 6, brother. I didn't say 5. I said 6.
I'm just. Thank you.
I said
said
6. I said 6.
I said
We
5.
good. We good. We good.
Yeah.
So the next matchup, we got the 8th ranked Utah Jazz coming up against the 9th ranked Dallas Mavericks. Now, I want to be in the hot seat for this one, because I think this is the most competitive. Obviously, seeding ranking wise, this is the most competitive matchup we've had yet.
Yes.
Another sort of situation that we might see in this year's playoffs. I don't know what it is. I'm gonna let y'all go. I lied. So who's going first? Who wants to go up first in this one?
I'll give it to Dwayne.
Okay. What's the status of Donovan Mitchell right now?
Let's assume he's healthy. Leave it
Yeah.
at that.
Assuming that Donovan Mitchell is healthy, given what that man has always shown in the playoffs, I can never count the Utah Jazz out. Even though they don't get over the hump, as we know they don't do, they're good enough to always get out of the first round, usually. With the way that man pours his heart out, he's just consistently shown he is an unstoppable force when he's in the playoffs. Out of respect for Mitchell, assuming he's healthy, I'm giving this to Utah. But then again, Luka and the Mavs have been playing a whole lot differently as of late. And since the All-Star game, All-Star break, those guys have been looking real like nobody wants to play them ish.
Dinwiddie. That's the glue right there.
Telling you, man, it's tough. It's just hard for me to count out my boy Mitchell, man. But if he's not healthy, this is easily going to the Mavs, and I mean easily in like 4 to 5 games type easy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm actually taking Dallas in this one, because I think it's almost like addition by subtraction for them. Porzingis being out has been so freeing for Doncic, and like you said, Chris, them getting Dinwiddie has been amazing for them. I think a lot of people don't really talk about Jalen Brunson enough. He is an absolute dog. So I'm taking Dallas in this one, man. I actually think that if this were to happen, Mitchell healthy or not, I'm taking Dallas, and I'm gonna take Dallas in 6. And I actually have a hot take too. I think Donovan Mitchell is on his way out.
I'm gonna let you finish right there. I like that. I do too. I think there's some issues there,
Yeah.
that haven't really been spoken about too publicly. Now I just want to say, Dwayne, I agree with you in a lot of things you said. I feel like this. A lot of people sleep on the Jazz in general. I feel like they're. If there's anyone I relate them to as an organization, and they don't have the accolades, so it might not be deserved, but I feel like they're sneaky, they're Spurs like, with the way that they get things done, the level of sort of finding guys to fit in certain roles and getting the best out of guys in their second half of their career. Conley, I'm looking at you, man. I think Conley has done a lot for this team. Yes, sir, that Memphis blood right there. But
Sir, love
I
Conley.
just
Oh,
gotta, dude. I hate to do it to you, Dwayne, but I gotta go with the Mavs in this one too. I think the biggest factor for me is when you have the best player in the series in a 7 game series. I think that does a lot for you as a team. And personally, I feel like, uh, dude, I just gotta say it, dude. Dude should be considered for the MVP as well. I think he's one of those guys that should be in that conversation because when he's on, it's hard to find players that can do the shit that he does. And there's nobody that wants to guard him. Like let me make that straight. There's nobody that can lock up Luca. That's a fact. I would have to go with the Mavs in this one. I would say 6-2. So let me put Dallas in 6 in here. And that's another upset. So sound the upset alarms.
Yeah.
Dallas in 6. Now this is where the bracket gets interesting because now, obviously with the way the seedings play out, it's a certain way so that the best teams meet at the end.
Hmm.
So let's look at these matchups for what they are. First seed, Phoenix Suns coming up against the ninth seed Dallas Mavericks. We just talked about them, but it's only right. It's only right that we follow it up again with this one. I think being that I've been in the hot seat twice now, we could switch it up. We'll give it to Derrick. So I'll start this one off, and then you'll go, Dwayne. I think this matchup is closer than it looks on paper, especially
Hmm.
when you had a 5 game series in your first series. I feel like a lot of people overestimate what that means. I think, in a way, I feel like you want to be out there longer than 5 games. And I think, look back at the finals run they had, I think a lot of
Hmm.
that plays out there too.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't have the chutzpah. I don't have the gumption, the balls to pick the Mavs here. I'm gonna go with the Phoenix. I think they have way too much in the backcourt specifically. But those matchup wise, certain guys go off, and you can see this going either way. Um, but I think they have a lot more bodies to throw on Luca than Dallas has bodies to throw on that backcourt in general. So I'm going with the Suns here, but I'm gonna say in 7. I think it's that close.
mm. You know what? This is gonna be a crazy series. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But you know what? I'm actually giving the edge to the Dallas Mavericks. This is where Phoenix gets bounced. It was a magical run they had getting into the NBA Finals. And as you know, much like any other sport, it is very difficult to get back to that road. There's always teams that are just as hungry, if not more hungry. And I feel like Luca's hitting a different stride right now. He's first of all, he's always been a matchup problem for a lot of people in the playoffs in general. Devin Booker cannot slow him down, and I know CP3 cannot slow him down. So the Luca factor is going to be enough to get them past this team and surprise a lot of people. I still see it. I go with you, Chris, and I give it 7 games. But the Luca effect, man, can't be denied.
All right. Well,
It's all on you.
it is. It is. Um, I'm going to say Phoenix in. I want to say 5. Um, and I'm gonna tell you why. I think y'all forgot about DeAndre Ayton. I don't know who's stopping him in the paint. Wow, bro, that is so disrespectful. Listen, I think when you're talking about Aiton, I don't know who's actually stopping him in the paint. I think Mikal Bridges. I think defensively, when you look at advanced metrics, he is one of the better defensive players in the league as well. I think he slept on as well, like just as much as Marcus Smart is. Um, So I'm taking Phoenix because I think that they have the bodies, the size, the versatility as well. I think they have all that going for them. I think as well coaching matchup. Monty Williams, I'm taking him. I'm taking him in that matchup. So I'm saying Phoenix in five. I think they cruise past the Mavs easily in this matchup.
Nice, dude. I just want to say that makes his Suns in six. I didn't expect that, but I like that point. I think you're right. I do sleep on him more so than most people. I feel like when it comes down to sort of the scenarios where you need him, I think
Mm-hmm.
between foul trouble and a lot of other things, I think he could have problems
Mm-hmm.
later on in games,
Oh,
especially. Go ahead.
I can I make this point too? McGee, JaVale McGee, being the backup, I think is also the most underrated aspect of this, because when Aiton goes to the bench, you have McGee to deal with in the paint, and I don't know. I'm not sold on Dallas's um, interior defense to be able to
Boban.
stop that team.
Boban?
I'm
You
sorry.
serious? No, I'm,
I'm
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 joking. I like
I'm
that. I
not
like that.
I'm not taking that. No.
Rang.
Yeah, I think it would have been sad if we would have seen the Suns get bounced in the second round. But
Yeah.
best team in the NBA currently. We'll see how that plays out. Our
Yes.
next matchup, dude,
Crazy.
this is tough. This is tough right here. We got the. Let me make sure I got this right. The fourth seeded Miami Heat coming up against the 12th seeded Minnesota Timberwolves. Now, bro, this is a fucking matchup. If we ever seen one in this bracket, I think I'm picking my winner based off this matchup, like solely based off this matchup. And the reason why I'm going with the Timberwolves here in six, I think Jimmy Butler's gonna need. He gonna call up Kyrie. He gonna get that sage plug. He's gonna be going around the arena trying to exercise those demons. I think this is hard, especially when you got somebody like why am I forgetting his name? I'm the worst. The point guard. You mentioned him earlier when we were talking about them. The dog.
Oh,
You love
Patrick
him.
Beverly.
Yes, Pat Bev. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes.
When you got
Yes.
Pat Beverly playing in a place that you already don't like the vibes, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
have a tough series.
Yes.
And role players, I really don't trust Tyler Hero. I think seeing him break out was fun in the bubble, and then that season after there was a big regression there. And obviously this season he's picked that up, but we're still in the middle. He
Mm-hmm.
hasn't reached that bubble level yet,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't know if he can again. But I think the supporting cast, we got some dogs, man. And I think when it comes down to it, I feel like the Heat is going to have a lot of problems in the front court specifically. Obviously, Bam is really good too. I'm not sleeping on Bam, but at the same time, I just feel like versatility. The Wolves are much more versatile as a team. And hey, there's something there in a Miami versus Timberwolves matchup specifically. So that's my thoughts. I'm sure everyone else is picking the Heat in six, but that's what I think. So what do you think, Dwayne?
Hmm. Man. this is this is interesting. I will say that. This is probably, if this were a real matchup, this would have been the storyline matchup that everybody's looking forward to see for obvious reasons. Now, we've brought up Butler and how much he is definitely not playing like the Butler of old, but hey, I feel like there's a factor that's missing that nobody's talked about yet, and that guy is a former champion in his own right. Guy by the name of Kyle Lowry. Now, I feel like he makes a difference for that backcourt for sure. When you add the Tyler Heroes and the Duncan Robinsons and all these guys that can shoot, and I feel like they have the better shooting. But then again, it's a tough day at the office for Bam, man, because he got to deal with Cat. And I know Cat wants that revenge on Jimmy, especially because Jimmy got on Cat for being soft. If there's anybody that's gonna want a point to prove in a matchup like this, it would be Cat, and he would take this personal. So for that, I love my cousin, but I'm gonna have to give this one to Minnesota. I gotta give this one to Minnesota in about
Let's
6
go.
games. About 6 games,
Let's
man.
go.
6 games.
I'm actually going Minnesota, but I think I'm going to do 7. I'm gonna choose 7 because of the Kyle Lowry factor. He's one of the best at being able to draw offensive fouls. So, like, I'm just thinking of more so on that level. Bam is not going to be able to get through Cat. Like, and I have nothing but respect for Bam, but he's not getting through Cat. Sorry, that's not happening. Anthony Edwards, I think, is probably the X factor of this matchup, but I think he'll be able to live up to expectations. I'm taking Minnesota, but I'm gonna take him in 7.
I like it. I like it. That's
Yeah.
bro. Honestly, when I went, I could have swore both of y'all were gonna go against me. I love it. I love it. And this is the biggest dog that's made it through the tournament so far. The 12th seed coming all the way now into the second round. So you love to see it. Next up, if you ask me, this is my dream matchup right here. This was my finals matchup right here. Honestly, this is the hardest series in this second round, if you ask me. We got the 76ers coming up against the Golden State Warriors. Now, I think the biggest key for me, and after this, I won't go first anymore because I went first a lot of times. I just peeped.
Yeah, no, you good.
I just got to say, man, I think not having Wiseman out there, of course, he's still young in his career. But I think you need as many bodies, as many looks as you could throw on him, just for the fact that somebody got to take those fouls. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody got to try to slow him down. And with one less body out there, I think that means a lot in this series. Now, don't get me wrong. I feel like when everyone's healthy, I think the Warriors should be the favorites in this matchup. But I think if James Harden plays the way he should play, because that isn't to be expected in the playoffs. But if he plays the way he should play, I feel like at this stage, with everything going on, obviously in my mind, I think health is sort of playing into this, but it shouldn't. Let's act like Steph is fully healthy here. I think the Warriors have the best player. I think the Sixers have the best team when it comes to that matchup between the two of them. This is a tough one. I'm gonna say what nobody else is gonna have the balls to say. I'm gonna go Sixers in 7, and I think it ends in Golden State at home, and all their fans are gonna be crushed in a big way. And now, in my opinion, the biggest heels in the entire NBA tournament we got going on, it has to be the Sixers. So, what do you guys think? Let's let Derrick go first on this one, so that Dwayne could be the tiebreaker.
All right, I'm actually going to take Philly in this as well. I think it's mainly because of the fact that we've seen how Golden State has looked with Klay coming back, and he's not playing to his level yet, right? I think he'll get there, but I think that switch is going to come in the next season. I don't think it's going to come right now. I think the offensive onslaught that you get with Steph out there balances or counterbalances Embiid's dominance, and because those kind of like cancel each other out, just like you said, with Philly having the deeper team right now in terms of how they're playing right now, I'm taking Philly. There's not even a question. They're not going to be able to stop Embiid, and if you can't stop Embiid, how do you stop anybody else out there? I don't know how, because you're going to try to throw bodies at him, and then you got some guy you got Harden on the perimeter, You got Maxi out there. I don't know how you do it. So yeah, sorry, Nat. Going Philly.
Wow. Okay. Well, so much for a tiebreaker. That's for sure. Yeah. Totally taking Golden State in this. Easily in 5 games. If we're assuming this is a fully healthy Golden State squad, guys, even with the version of Clay you have right now, that's the Sixers don't have anywhere near the shooting ability of what the Warriors have. And what we know about the Warriors in the playoffs, when it's really time, the lights are bright, the shots are falling, raining threes left and right. And if it's one thing I don't trust, it's a James Harden in the playoffs. Embiid's going to play lights out all he wants. Won't even matter. When you have Steph Curry pulling up from half court, and you got Jordan Poole and all these other guys on this team that are pretty much just on a whole different level, man, I don't see it, man. I don't trust Harden. Harden has to show me otherwise. He has not been in shape. He has not been in good shape. He has moments where he looks lights out, and then he has moments where it's like, who turned out the lights? Who turned them on? He shrunk. Where'd he go? He disappeared. For that, man, this is easily Golden State for me.
Thank you for being a voice of reason. I just gotta say, thank you for being a voice of reason. Someone had to do it. Someone had to do it. And I'm not gonna lie, the more you spoke, the more I'm like, damn, I totally was like acting like Steph is not at 100%. I definitely feel like it's closer than me and Derrick made it seem. But it turns out we still got the Sixers going through, baby. It don't matter. So I love to see it. I'm going to say in 6 just because that makes the most sense with all the variants we had.
I'm saying 7.
That's the most fun matchup we've seen so far, in my opinion. This format is the shit. Honestly, please adopt it. I don't care that less Western Conference teams made it in. The teams that deserve to make it made it. So the next matchup, dude. I can't believe it turned out like this. We got the Celtics going up against the Memphis Grizzlies. I'm going to let y'all kick this one off, and I'm going to be the tiebreaker in this one because I already know which way this is going. Y'all are the defense and the prosecution. Y'all going to have to convince the judge. I'm going to let Derrick go first on this one.
That's hilarious. You already know what I'm going to say. Celtics in 5.
In 5? The disrespect.
Yeah. I love Memphis. I love them. I actually think that they're reminiscent of the Tony Allen, Zebo days right now with that level of grit. Okay, so no disrespect, but you ain't got no one there that's gonna actually be able to stop Robert Williams in that paint. Okay, like no one in Memphis is gonna stop him. No one in Memphis is gonna stop Tatum. No one in Memphis is gonna stop Brown. I'm sorry. And to be completely honest, the coaching advantage goes to Ime, the rightful coach of the year. And that's no disrespect to Memphis or Ja. Ja's gonna do what he does, but they ain't winning that series. I give him 1 game out of respect. I love him, but Boston is winning that one easily to me.
I'm sorry, man. I just had to let the blues music keep on playing, man, because, boy, you speaking nothing but Memphis blues right now, dog. I mean, it's so funny. It's comical, bro. Like, man, I have to applaud you. I really do. That was so not convincing at all, but, I mean, you really did everything you could to try to make me feel like that was convincing. I applaud you, sir. I really, really do. But, sir, no. Not at all. I mean, I could say 5, if I wanted. I could. Sure. Why not? Why not? But I can tell you this much. We're winning a lot more than one game on those guys. That being said, props. Celtics, they having a nice run, they're looking good, they're doing what they do, and that's all well and good. What have you done for me lately, man? What have you done for me lately?
One.
I mean, how many times have y'all won without your best players?
Without Jason Tatum or Brown?
What's the record without best players?
They've not missed games together this year.
Exactly. Together. Mm-hmm. Take your two best offensive players off.
Why would I do that?
Exactly. I can do it. I can take my best player off. I can tell you I'm 15-2 and counting and doing perfectly well. As a matter of fact, so well in the fact that we're actually the most dangerous team because we can win without our guy. And the fact that when we have our guy, it's 10 times better. And we're younger. So, my guy, I feel you. The Robin Williams guy, yeah, he's cute. It's all good. But,
wow.
That's cute. That's real cute, Derrick. But, my man from down under, I'm telling you, bro. Like, trust me when I say the man with the stash, bro. Big Adams, bro. Big Adams got that. That's lightweight for Big Adams, dog. He good. You know what I'm saying? He good, bro. Big Adams, he gonna handle all that. You know what I'm saying? He good. He good. I just want you to tell me how you expect John Morant to be afraid of your big. Like he has. I see him dunking on your guy like 15 million times already. Truth be told, dunking on him hardcore.
Did he win
completely? I can see him.
You can take a dunk. I don't care.
It's about to be wins because I'm telling you now, dog. Straight up, my boy Dylan Brooks. He gonna slow down your guy Tatum. You know what I'm saying? It'll be, we're gonna have that fun. You're gonna have some fun. You're gonna have some fun on your guy Tatum. You know what I'm saying? And then we'll let Clark. We'll let Clark handle Brown. Why not? Let Clark go ahead and handle Brown. Sure, why not? You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, man. Listen, I'm just gonna tell you right now, bruh. Everybody was saying how, Elvis was just the king, the king of Memphis. But the king is reborn. And he got dreads. And he ready to show folks, hey, I'm Westbrook, D-Rose, MJ, and all these folks rolled into one in my own way. God dang. Wow. I'm ready. I'm finna show you right now. Listen, man, listen.
Wow.
I'm telling you now when I sit here and say out of respect for your Celtics, you know what I'm saying? Out of respect for your Celtics, take my Grizzlies in 6, please. I thank you.
Wow.
Thank you.
I love it.
Carry on.
I love it. I just have to say, both of you guys did a terrible job convincing me of this. So I had to go back. I had to go back to my own thoughts on this one. Now, when it comes to matchups, I would say I tend to lean towards the Celtics in this one. Now, here's the reason why. I feel like there's a little bit more guns on that side of the equation, which is hard to think of when you consider where they are positionally in the NBA right now. Mm-hmm. When it comes to actual matching up against each other, I would say this is a lot closer than you made it seem, Derrick. I feel like, especially in the front court, I think, once again, you gotta. I know you watch your Celtics games, but you gotta watch these Grizzlies games too, man. I agree with a lot of the things that Dwayne said. I feel like, especially not just Steven Adams, I think you're gonna get quality minutes out of guys like Tillman, even all the way on the back of the bench. You're gonna get quality minutes out of guys like that. So. This is a hard one for me to pick, and I hate that it all falls on me. But when you look at the facts, and you got the second best record in the league. But now, I'm gonna just say it like this. I think ultimately defense is what wins championships, and I think the Celtics have the more proven defense. Now, when you pair the fact that they have the more proven defense, with the fact that they have the better guns, I have to lean with the Celtics in this one. I would say Celtics in 7. That's how close it is in my mind. But the disrespect, I almost went with the Grizzlies just because of the disrespect.
Nah,
But I'll
listen,
give it to you.
and I'm gonna tell you why also, because you're talking about depth, right? Defensively, Grant Williams switches. He can switch 3 through 5. Peyton Pritchard, who is a small guy, can do his work at the 1. I don't see how Memphis is able to switch and be as versatile as Boston is, not just in the starting lineup, on the bench. On the bench. And Daniel Tice is back. I think
Don't speak.
I think that's a very underrated part. Derrick White
Oh man.
is a
Listen,
dog
he on my
defense
fantasy
too.
team. He a dog, but he cold. Let's make it clear.
He's a dog on defense. He's a dog on defense. Okay, I know he's had his slump over the last couple of weeks offensively, but defensively, which is what this Celtics team has made their mark on. You're not going to be able to tell me that there's another team that's able to do what they do defensively, and that's not just starting lineup. That's in the bench.
All right.
that.
We shall
Well,
see.
I'm gonna give you the last word because we got to move on here. But these last 2 matchups, sneaky one-sided, if you ask me. And it's funny the way it plays out because we get a West versus West and an East versus East matchup, which I think is really cool. Now let's start with the number 1 seed. We got the Suns coming up against the Minnesota Timberwolves. I can't believe the Timberwolves are the only West team left in this matchup. I'm gonna let Dwayne start on this one. I think I deserve to be in the tiebreaker spot again. Please let us know what you think on this matchup.
Okay. This is a cancel out because let's see, this is Cat versus Aiton. You know what? This is where, given that this is a fantasy matchup and all, I already kind of had Phoenix out by this point. But if they had this, since this is West versus West, and this was to be a real matchup here, I'm giving the edge to Phoenix here. They got that floor general, Chris Paul, man. And at the end of the day, even though Minnesota has the dogs, as Derrick mentions, we know that CP3 is a dog in his own right who's a floor general. So he is both at the same time. And with that factor, I'm giving that edge to Phoenix. Minnesota had a heck of a run. They've been on a heck of a dogfight to this point. But experience wins over everything. And because Phoenix has the experience and they are backing it up, and that man Booker is a beast. Easily going to give this one to Phoenix by a hair. And I say Minnesota loses in about 6.
Yeah, Phoenix wins this. I think I'm gonna actually say. I'm gonna say 5. They win this one in 5.
The Cinderella story ends.
Yeah, it's over. It's over.
I like
it's
it.
Over.
I
they
like
have
it.
the
I agree
advantage
with
in
you.
every way to me. So.
And it's almost a happy to be there as well. Like I feel like that plays into it too. I'm not gonna lie. If anyone comes out of this looking good and thankful that they got the first seed, it's the Phoenix Suns, baby. I think they had the easiest run out of anyone in this tournament. I'll go Suns in 5 as well. So that makes it Suns in 5. So can't believe that. But in my opinion, the matchup we deserve. This needs to happen in the playoffs, if you ask me. 76ers coming up against the Boston Celtics. I'm gonna let Derrick start this one because we know how that's gonna go. And then I'll you know what? I'll go and I'll let Dwayne be the voice of reason in this one. Why don't you go ahead, Derrick?
Yeah, Boston's winning this. I'll say 6. Because historically, I should say 5, but historically, Embiid has had his issues against Al Horford, and I think that's an amazing matchup right there. But guess what? Marcus Smart has been able to hold James Harden and get in his head a lot. So I'm gonna say Boston is 6 out of respect for Philly, but I again they have the deeper team. That's it. They have the advantage to me in every category outside of Embiid.
What's your thoughts, Dwayne?
Oh, I thought I was going last on this one. My bad.
Oh no
Well,
no. Oh yeah. I messed that up. I messed that up. That's my bad. I didn't want to have to do it because I know Derrick's shit. I might get kicked off TSG next week with what I'm about to do. But I just gotta do it. I gotta put Dwayne in the hot seat. I think this matchup is way closer than you expect. I'm not gonna disrespect and say in a certain amount of games I'm gonna go Sixers in 7 here. And the case that I'm gonna make for the Sixers is if we remember things correctly, let me pull this up and make sure I'm correct on this. But if we remember things correctly, Sixers have home court advantage here, and I think that's going to play into, especially as the series goes longer. I agree with a lot of the points you made, Derrick. So this was a hard decision for me. I think that's why it goes in 7 as well. But I think long term, we're really going to have to see the level that Robert Williams is on because I think you're giving him a lot of credit, rightfully so. But in a matchup like this, I think he looks small out there, and I think that plays a big factor. Now the swarming aspect of it, a lot of guys are going to have to hit shots for the Sixers, and I think that's what makes it scary against a team like the Boston Celtics. But I already made my pick. Take us home, Dwayne.
Whew. All right. So this is interesting when I look at this Sixers roster. And there's a couple players that have their fair share of playoff experience here. Yet, at the end of the day, this really, we know this comes down to Embiid. This comes down to Harden. There's one guy that doesn't get talked about enough. That being J. Cole himself. Tobias Harris, ladies and gentlemen. The question in this matchup would be, what do you get out of Tobias Harris? Does he bring enough to the table to even out the balance? Especially, and again, as Derrick mentions, if a guy like Smart is in the head of James Harden, as we know, when James Harden is in his head, he is definitely not playing at his best. So, can a guy like Tobias Harris pick up the slack for anything that Harden leaves behind? Well, that is a question to find out should this matchup happens in a real life setting, because we shall find out for sure. Honestly, it would take a Super Saiyan level Embiid to completely knock out the Celtics at this point. It would take a Super Saiyan level, and I'm talking he's got to have 50 to 60 darn near every night. And if they're trying to keep him as durable as he has been, knock on wood, even with that, I don't think it's enough to get past these Celtics. I don't think it's enough. I don't
He's
trust
like,
Harden
God.
enough.
Thank God. The sweat. He can wipe the sweat. Because I saw it in your eyes. Derrick was like, don't do me like this, Dwayne. Don't be petty.
Oh, I could have.
We just beat y'all. He's like, don't be petty, please.
That's exactly what I was thinking, man.
Oh, I could have. I could have. But in this instance, I just don't trust Harden like that in any setting. He has not proven it yet. Maybe had he stayed with Brooklyn, sure. Maybe. But in this instance, I just don't see how this works. Even with what they said these two look like, I just don't see how it works.
Dude. I just want to say I love this experiment because we ended up with an East versus West matchup anyway.
That's amazing.
Which is so dope. I also think I'm gonna start off this one. Obviously, it's Suns versus Celtics. That's the, and then I'm gonna let Derrick go because we know we know what that pick is gonna be, and then we'll finish off with Dwayne. Look, man, I think the fact that they had the easiest road so far in this tournament plays a huge factor. In order for the
Hmm.
Celtics to make it to this point, they're gonna have to go through hell with the last two teams that they had. Like, let's be real, especially in the order that they had them, Grizzlies and then the Sixers. Like, those are hard matchups back to back. They're well rested. Now, I think that doesn't play in as much as you think. I think this matchup is very close on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, I think there's a clear number one in this matchup, which is a little bit scary for my pick. I'm gonna go Suns in 7. I think when it comes down to the argument that a they just been there, they know what that heartbreak is like, and they don't want to feel that again. And B, I think at the top tier as a cohesive unit, from what I've seen, I think the Suns get it done a little bit better offensively than the Celtics do. The fact that this is the finals, it doesn't make it easy to pick offense over defense whatsoever.
Hmm.
But home court, easier route, all those things play together. I'm picking the Suns here in 7. Get the monkey off their back and get it done.
I'm choosing the Celtics in 7. I'm choosing the Celtics in 7. I think that again the versatility that the Celtics have is stifling. Like and just so everyone understands, this is not a homer pick. This is just based off how they've been playing, and the I think the turnaround that they had in December to January is one for the books. I think um, the addition of Derrick White and Daniel Tice has been something that has not only helped the team get better defensively, but it's helped individual players play better. Granted, they still don't even have Aaron Neesmith back. Like, I think the way that everybody's playing, this is going to be an actual dogfight. This is actually my new pick for the finals anyway. Boston versus Phoenix, because I said at the beginning of the season, Golden State. I don't see Golden State even just like in a regular format. I don't see Golden State being able to make it there now. I think they'll make it to the Western Conference Finals, and that's going to be it for them. But I'm choosing Boston in 7, and it's going to be a dogfight. It's going to be a dogfight. I think that's going to be one hell of a show between Booker and Tatum. That is a hell of a matchup. Hell of a matchup. But I'm taking Boston.
Hmm.
Oh, let me add this one other note to that. We saw how Phoenix played last year against Milwaukee, right? In the finals. If they allowed Milwaukee to do that, and and Giannis wasn't even healthy, what do you think would end up happening with Boston there? Granted, I told you before, I think that if McGee was there last year, I think things probably would have played out a little differently. Doesn't even matter.
I'm gonna be frank here before Dwayne goes because I got someone got to do it because I know
Hmm.
Dwayne's not gonna do it. I just
Hmm.
gotta say, bro, Robin Williams is nowhere near the player that Giannis is. I just gotta say it. On both ends of the floor, you maybe got a little bit more of an argument, but as far as
Hmm.
what he brings to the table in the series,
Oh, listen.
listen,
I'm not comparing him to Giannis. I'm not comparing him to Giannis.
it sounded like a little.
Oh, no. I said if Phoenix allowed Giannis and the Bucks and the Milwaukee Bucks to be able to win while Giannis was hurt, I don't see how a team that is 1 through 15 better in the Celtics offensively and defensively. I don't see how they lose to the Suns.
Got
That's
you.
all I'm
And I
saying.
think I think this Suns team is better than last season's Suns team too.
I think they are
But we're
too.
locked
I think
out
they are too.
now. It's Dwayne's
Yeah.
turn. Take us
Yes,
home,
sir.
brother.
All right. So in this matchup, I had to do a little research, and in doing this research, Turns out that, and this is all-time history, so this isn't just the last couple of years, this is all-time in the 133 regular season NBA games that we have had. The Boston Celtics, 74 wins. The Phoenix Suns, 59 wins against each other. If we're going off the last couple of years, you guys have evenly split half and half with the Phoenix Suns. It was about 2018 when you guys completely swept the Phoenix Suns. A lot has obviously changed, and then before that was probably 2015, I believe I saw, was the last time you swept. Therefore, based off the last couple of years, there's some tweaks and role players here and there. Of course, they don't always transition here. But if we're going based off this season, of course, obviously, even split amongst these two teams. Therefore, I am going to say that this is definitely going 7 games for sure. I will give the edge to the Phoenix Suns on this one. Now, listen, this is not the hate. This is in a realistic sense. This would be Boston's first time. This version of Boston. This would be their first time on this stage. Realistically. Versus Phoenix, who was just here the year prior. Which means they would be a little bit more motivated. Not to say that Boston isn't motivated. They have every reason to be. But historically, there has always been something to slow you guys down from getting over the hump. And finally getting to this hump, Phoenix, who's already been at this hump, obviously is going to have a little bit more motivation. Especially their general in CP3. Because he knew that he allowed that to slip right through the cracks. When it came to Milwaukee, you were up 2-1, and you allowed them to come all the way back to win that. When you lose in a fashion like that, if you get a chance to get back to that stage 9 times out of 10, you're not going to let something like that happen again, and you're going to come with a more motivated mentality than the first time. Because it's like, it took a while for me to get to this point, to get to my very first finals. I almost tasted it. Should the Phoenix Suns get back to this point? And that's a big should. I personally don't have them. My matchup, my ideal finals matchup is, realistically, the Grizzlies and the Celtics. 2 young guns, 2 young teams going at it. Realistically, not even on bias. Realistically, from what I'm seeing the eye test. But, also with that being, though, based off this fantasy matchup, I'm giving the slight edge to Phoenix off that motivational factor. That when you've been to this point versus a team that has not gotten to this point, as of yet, plenty of playoff experience, but not on this stage. Because we know final stages are a lot different usually than a playoff stage. It's still a playoff setting. When it's the finals, all eyes are on you. There's no other teams left. It's just you and that other team that you got to get through. Knowing the pressure is doubled now because it's like, we lose this, we ain't just going home. We just lost a championship. And I know Phoenix already knows how that feels. Meanwhile, Boston doesn't know how it feels to win or lose that yet. The organization knows how it feels. But this core, this group, does not know how that feels yet on that stage. So, off of that factor, I'm giving the edge to Phoenix in what would be an incredible final. Back and forth fest, 7 games. But I see them losing for Tatum and the crew to turn around and literally be motivated to get back the following year.
Take us home, Derrick, before we move on.
Can I offer one rebuttal?
Go ahead.
I actually think that they do know what it feels like, because if you remember back when they had Kyrie, Hayward, that was a team, with Rozier, Smart, Tatum, Brown. That was a team that everyone was looking at to win the championship, and they didn't. Right? That was a heartbreaker. So I actually think that I would argue that they do know what it feels like, because that was supposed to be the year they won. And then on top of that, with you talking about the lights being brighter and everything like that, look at how Tatum has been playing. Every time those lights are extremely bright, he's putting on the biggest show. So I don't see it getting any. I don't see.
This is true.
Same thing can be said about CP. I think.
Yeah, same thing to be said about CP. Ayton had a pretty good showing when he was in the finals last year as well. I don't recall him disappearing.
For sure.
I don't recall Devin Booker disappearing either, to be completely honest. It's just at the end of the day, somehow they allowed that to slip through the cracks and they let Giannis be Giannis. Now, unless you're telling me Tatum's going to be a Giannis, quite possible, but,
I'm going to tell you, it's not that he's going to be Giannis. I think you're looking at him and everyone else being better than that entire Milwaukee team together. That's what I'm telling you.
I like it. Now, I just want to say, I think it's really amusing that the Suns end up winning this in this conversation, but I would say all of us don't even have the Suns making the finals again this year. So I think that's really amusing.
I don't know. I think they do.
Yeah, you do. I know me and Dwayne don't.
Yeah,
me and Dwayne
I think they do. Yeah, I'm convinced the Warriors are not going to make it. I'm convinced. Clay's not Clay. Clay's not Clay. I'm sorry, not right now.
It doesn't matter to me about the Warriors.
They got a little bit of time.
At the end of the day,
but the playoffs is not the time to put that on. That's got to be on a month and a half, 2 months prior, right?
For sure.
That ain't there yet.
Even though in this scenario the East had more teams, I think the higher quality teams reside in the West, and I think that's the problem. It's not like I'm picking the Warriors necessarily. It's more so like the field versus the field in the East. Yeah,
I agree with you. Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think like I said before, Warriors Phoenix Western Conference Finals. That's my Western Conference Finals matchup. I'm just now choosing Phoenix over Golden State.
Do you have any closing thoughts for us, Dwayne, before we move
on? Realistically, man, like I said, I would like to see, for real, a Celtics Grizzlies matchup. I just need some youth, something different, like youthfully different, like what we got. But knowing the NBA the way I know them, I would not be surprised to see the Brooklyn Nets somehow manage their way into these finals. And truth be told, even though y'all switched this format, I just would not be surprised because of LeBron's efforts. I would not be surprised.
Oh, don't do that.
I would not be surprised. I'm sorry, bro.
So you think they're making a play-in?
It remains to be seen. All they got to do is make the play-in. After that, we'll see what happens from there, man. I'm not saying they're going to get there. I'm not saying they're not. It's the Brady effect when it comes to LeBron, man. Do not bet LeBron.
How does LeBron affect the Nets, though? How does that affect the Nets?
How does that affect the Nets into the finals? I mean, shoot. It's Kyrie and it's Kevin Durant. I know depth is always a thing, but at the end of the day, it's Kyrie. It's Kevin Durant. The NBA loves this stuff, okay? The NBA loves this stuff. And I want that matchup. I don't want Boston, Philly. I want I want the Nets and the 76ers because I want to see how dumb James Harden is going to feel the moment Kyrie and KD are like, yeah, you wanted to leave this, right? And just rub it in. I mean, these type of headlines don't write themselves, man. It's crazy, you know, but you can't ever count Boston out for sure. You never can. NBA politics, man. NBA politics. They want the stars.
As currently constructed, Brooklyn is not even going to make it out the second round. I'm sorry.
I disagree. I highly disagree.
I do not care.
I highly disagree.
The team is not that team is not.
Because you and I both know
what everyone thinks.
You and I both know Milwaukee should not have been in the finals last year. That easily should have been Brooklyn.
They shouldn't. No. Yeah. No, I agree with that. But guess what? The guys that Brooklyn had last year, they do not have right now.
Hey, it doesn't matter when you have a Kyrie and a KD. Who's stopping neither one of them?
Kyrie and KD can do whatever the hell they want to do.
Exactly.
The other guys are not going to be able to do what it's going to take to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. I just don't see that. And I said that's from the beginning of the season. I do not see Brooklyn being as this dominant force as everyone else sees them.
Man, but let me get this straight though, because I agree with you, and we've talked about this all year.
Yeah.
And we'll close it on this.
Yeah.
But I honestly believe that no matter who they face throughout this tournament, I mean, the play-in tournament and all that, no matter who they face, I'm not saying they're going to be favorites, the Nets, but they're not. They're going to be the line is going to be the closest in that series than any other series in the league. No matter who they play in the East, that line is going to be tight. So
I agree.
And it's because of all the reasons we said. So honestly, I could see it go either way. I think the biggest player for the Nets right now, and this is going to be hilarious, but the most important, impactful player for the Nets, if they're going to do anything this postseason, is not KD, not Kyrie, is Andre Drummond.
I agree with you.
And when Andre Drummond is your big three, I think people tend to be like, nah, I don't want to see that. But I think if he steps up in the big way and the way that we sort of expected out of him coming out of UConn, I think he could really change the course of series across the playoffs. So that's all to be determined. I'm really excited about it.
Except if he gets matched up against Embiid, because we all know how that goes all the time.
Yep,
and then at that point, that goes right back to Kyrie and KD, because you're going to need those to double whatever Embiid does on Drummond, because we all know he owns that guy.
And whatever Harden can't do in return. So all of these are interesting matchups. Once again, we'll take a look at the actual NBA playoff picture once we get there. Hopefully we could get you back on for that too, Dwayne.
Sure.
I think that would be really fun to sort of run it back the same way.
Absolutely.
And play it out and think about how it goes. But let's move on now. We don't have much time left. I'm going to make that very clear. But I thought of something fun we could do, because why not? This has been a fun show. Why not? So we're going to play our own version of Fuck, Marry, Kill. Now, this is very hard to think about, but we're pivoting to the NFL free agency picture right now. So the first section, our fuck section, this is not about free agency moves that happened recently. No. This is about free agency moves we want. This is about the time we have left. So I'm going to let you start this one off, Dwayne. Since you closed us out, I got to put you right in the hot seat. What is one move that you want to see before the end of free agency that you think will really change the landscape of the way we're looking at it right now?
I like this.
This is, you put me on the hot seat for real, because I don't even know who's left in free agency to make this kind of dramatic change right now, because I saw the quarterback market that's left, and believe you me, there's nobody changing that at all. So, what's that leave? Wide receiver, running back? I mean, all the running backs are solidified. I mean, Odell's the only guy coming to my mind, but as far as where he ranks, word on the street is he's going back to Cleveland, apparently. But, yikes. Man, you might have to come back to me on this on top. It's a little tough to think about right now. I'm like, who's
All right,
left?
I'm gonna give you a big board. I'm gonna give you a big board real quick, so you get an idea of some of the guys that we have left. Tyrann Mathieu, Odell Beckham,
Mm-hmm.
Stephon Gilmore, Dwayne Brown. Don't sleep. Bobby Wagner,
Mm-hmm.
OG Bobby Wagner. I might add Jadeveon Clowney, Calais Campbell, Rob Gronkowski, Jarvis Landry. That's our sort of top 10 big board of what we have left.
Hmm.
What is one move? I'm throwing it right back to you, Dwayne. We need that answer. One guy, one team, one move. What you going with?
Hmm. I'm going Tyrann Mathieu to the Denver Broncos.
Wow. God damn, that's scary. That's scary shit right there.
I mean, think about how the AFC West has already just freaking said, you know what? Screw it. We the division of divisions in the AFC right now. I mean, shoot. Denver's known for their defense a lot of times anyway, and they just got offensively great with Russell Wilson over there. So, sure, why not beef up the defense even more? And they certainly look to have the cap space, I'm sure. So, why not get the Honey Badger while you're at it? Why not?
I love it. One of my favorite players in the NBA, in the NFL, by the way.
Yeah,
Go ahead,
yeah.
Derrick.
Listen, I think we discussed this last week, right? The NFC is wide open right now, wide open. So, my dream, if you ask me what I want to see, Stephon Gilmore decides to play with Darius Slay. That's what I want to see.
I like it.
That's what I want to see. Yeah, I think that would help a ton defensively. But Jesus, man, Bobby Wagner's still out there too. Like, I personally think he's going to end up going to Denver. I think he's going to get back with Russell Wilson, and I think they're going to make that happen. It's, to me, it's either Denver or the Rams that he decides to go to. But if you ask me what I want to see, I want to see Stephon Gilmore in Philly with Darius Slay. I don't
like
think
it.
I don't think I think that part that signing right there would set Philly apart from a lot of the teams in the NFC. Just that one move.
I like that a lot, and I'm going to keep it in the NFC because I was going to do what Derrick did. I was going to cop out and go with the homer move, but I'm not going to do it because there's one move that'll really, in my opinion, not even things out with the NFC and the AFC, but will really elevate this team, especially with the things that they lost. Now, hear me out here. There's a champion, a guy that got a ring this year, that's a free agent. And the only place that I think he should go or should consider going is to the Green Bay Packers. I think Odell going to the Packers is a huge move, and I think puts them right back basically where they were last year. If they're able to get another pass rusher in that mix, I think they're basically right back in that same position with Odell and company. So I'm excited. I don't know if that happens, but they're going to have to pay him. And they didn't want to pay Devontae Adams, so we'll see.
Speaking of, got a dark horse for you. Antonio Brown goes to Green Bay.
How dare you? He's going to the Ravens. How dare you? Let's move on. Let's move on. The Mary part of this fuck, marry, kill equation. Now, I think there's been a lot of shocking moves. There's been a lot of good moves. A lot of questionable ones too. But for this married one, we're not looking at next season. We're looking at the long-term effect of these moves. And I'll start us off here. If there's any move that I'm marrying, and it burns me to admit it, it's Deshaun Watson going to the Browns.
I knew it.
There's not a team that upgraded more, in my opinion, this season than the Browns. They lost a lot of key pieces, don't get me wrong. But when you change that quarterback from broke Baker Mayfield, because he broke everywhere, his arms, his shoulders, his legs, There's something wrong with that guy. I don't know. I think Johnny Manziel has a curse over that building on some wizardry shit, and all the white lightning that he's taken in his life is somehow affecting the joints of quarterbacks in that room. I think the fact that Deshaun Watson is there for the long haul, while that contract is very, very hefty and is going to
Mm-hmm.
force them to lose a lot on the defensive end, I
Mm-hmm.
think, especially in the next 2 seasons, they're one of the more loaded teams on both sides of the ball. And that's been entirely slept on because everyone's like, Deshaun Watson's here. Don't forget, they still got Miles Garrett over there,
Mm-hmm.
and that Jeremiah Wusu-Koramoah, and all those weapons that we've been so scared of that have been just wreaking havoc in the league. If they're able to sign Clowney back and keep those pieces together, I think this is a contender for years to come. So that's my move that I'm marrying. What's yours, Derek? We'll give Dwayne a little hiatus on this one.
Whew. I was gonna say Deshaun Watson to Cleveland, but just to be oppositional, uh, I'm actually gonna say Russell Wilson to Denver. I'm gonna say him because I think that and we discussed this already, but I think that his impact with those receivers is going to be phenomenal for that team. I almost feel like we could end up seeing, if everything shakes out properly, I think we could see what you remember that impact Peyton had on Denver, but he's just older. I think we're going to end up seeing that impact for years, and a healthy Russell Wilson. You know what I'm saying?
With weapons around him.
With
That's the
weapons
scary
around him,
part.
that is terrifying. And that defense, I think that's going to be the move that ends up being the one that is one of the best long term ones.
Awesome. What you got for us, Dwayne?
Whoo, man. So I was a little bit torn here. I was a little bit torn because I was gonna go the Denver route. I was gonna go the Denver route as well. But I'm gonna switch and I'm gonna actually go with the Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh yes, yes.
Devontae Adams, Darren Waller. You know what I mean? The Raiders already have shown that
Hunter
they've been on the
Renfrow.
come up. Like they are.
Forgot about Waller.
They listen. I know some people may have their questions about Carr, but when you think about the fact that him and Adams already have their chemistry from way back in the school college days, now it's like the Raiders are really saying, you know what, Carr, we trust you enough to bring not only a guy you're familiar with, but guys that you've already built something with, and really give him a chance to really showcase what he can truly do. And
Mm-hmm.
if that defense is anything remotely up to what this offense is showing it can be, man, it's gonna look real scary right now
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
in the AFC West. Um, yeah, so I'm definitely gonna go with silver and black for this one.
I love that pick, but I'm not gonna lie to you. There's one problem I have with it. They made so many upgrades to that offense, but what's the one part of that offense they didn't upgrade? The offensive line. And
Well,
this is a
yeah.
team that was among the top 5 in
Mm-hmm.
sacks allowed last season.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I like Derek Carr more than most people. I think he's
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
very,
yeah.
very good, but they're going to have problems against good pass rushers. I'm going to leave it at that.
There's still a draft. There's still a draft that we know. They could address that in the draft very easily. Very
It
easily.
won't have that immediate effect though. Not that
This is
immediate
true.
impact.
You know, it
And we could rebuttal everybody's pick. I'm sorry I did you like that because I didn't let nobody else get a rebuttal in, and then we both came at your pick. So I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. It's a great shout. I still can't believe that's by
is.
far the best division in football. Like by far, every team in that division is making the playoffs, and
Yeah.
the fact that 4 teams in the division can make the playoffs is historic shit.
well, every team. Are we sure?
Who you got out?
I don't know, man. Kansas City hasn't given anyone a reason to believe in them just yet.
Hey, I think Mahomes has given us every reason to think no matter who the fuck is out there, he's gonna be able to figure it out, especially with the way last season went.
We shall see, because somebody been frauding. So we either gonna find out if that's Mahomes, or we're gonna find out if that's Mr. Hill. Somebody been a fraud.
I'm gonna be completely honest. I'm slick. This move is gonna expose Mahomes for real, and we'll see. We'll see what's what.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait.
We'll
I
see
can't
what's what.
wait until Mahomes still throws almost near 40 touchdowns next season, and he's in.
Oh no, I think he's still gonna put the numbers up, but I don't think they're gonna end up going as far.
And that's a good shout.
You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
good shout.
That's
Especially, I think long depth wise. Obviously, you lose your best receiver, so that matters. I think that's a pretty deep wide receiver room. Even though there's not that one star, I think it's pretty deep. I mean, Travis Kelce's your star at this stage, but I think that's a deep receiver core right there. But we'll move on to our final leg of the three-legger, the kill. Now, I know everyone's going to think immediately, what's the move that we dislike the most? No.
Yeah.
That's not what I'm going to do here, because I feel like that's not fair, especially at this point of the free agency. The kill in this equation is not the move that we think is the worst. It's the move that we think is the most short-sighted. The move that may play off this season. But moving forward, it's not going to do it for us, man. And I'm going to start this one off cuz I have to. I know some people think it's a term of endearment. But Matty Ice is cold, brother. He's cold. He's not the dude that he once was. And now, while I admit this is an upgrade over Carson Wentz and almost anybody else they probably could have got over there, I firmly believe that they're still going to be a playoff team, but they're not going to be anywhere as good as people think next season because of the cap hits that he has on this team and all the pieces that sort of need to stay together. I don't think he has the weapons around him to make him look like he has in certain seasons. I think long term this is going to be a move that might shackle the Colts more than it gives them the freedom that they think it does.
I'm gonna go just slightly different than you on this one. I think the move that's going to hurt the team, one of the moves that's going to hurt one of the teams the most, is Arizona not being able to get Jones back. I think this is going to start a domino effect for Arizona. If I'm just kind of like maybe projecting a little bit, I'm slightly worried about Arizona because not you don't have Christian Kirk as well. That could be another part of this. But Christian Kirk being gone, Chandler Jones being gone, I think this is going to make life harder in Arizona. And even though you have Hopkins there, I'm sorry, and also Jordan Hicks is gone. Like those two moves on defense,
Chase
not
Edmonds.
getting. Chase Edmonds, Jesus, man,
And no replacements in sight. Like that's the problem.
replacements. I forgot. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. Arizona, I think, is going to be in trouble long term. They're going to be in trouble long term. Not getting any of those guys back, at least the majority of those guys back, is not. It's not the move.
With everything I've been hearing, shit, I think Kyler Hurry about to hurry his ass out of there too. So that we got even more problems.
Hot
on
And
the
then go
horizon.
where? And then go where?
Hot
That's
take.
Seattle.
Wait, what?
Hot take.
Okay. Yeah, we did talk about that. Yeah.
Hot take.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
It just
And then you
came
taking
to
us
me.
home.
Hot take.
Yep.
This just in. DeAndre Hopkins will be a Green Bay Packer sooner than later.
I like that. Give us your kill,
That's it. Ooh.
and then you can be sent home because that's scary.
God.
So just some food for thought that just literally came to mind based off this Arizona news that you guys just spat out here. Something tells me they're going to go into a soft rebuild, but we shall see.
I think it'll be a hard rebuild real quick.
Yeah, indeed. Man, so to me, Derrick's gonna love this one. I would say the big D this time stands for dope. The big dopes on the star. You literally did nothing to make a splash. You've kept your head coach. And you got rid of one of your best receivers and you sent him to where? That same place that you just said that just signed Deshaun Watson. Cleveland now has a guy that you were supposed to make your future guy. And now what do you have? Nothing for Dak to throw to. Therefore,
who is the one receiver there?
That would be Gallup.
Gallup, that's right.
And he's coming fresh off an injury, by the way. So,
yeah.
Hey, Dallas. Good luck saying that you're definitely going to a Super Bowl this year, guys. Because that definitely is not happening at all. I don't even see them making the playoffs this year. At all.
They're not.
That's my hot take, ladies and gentlemen.
I like it. I just want to say I'm the only one that understood the assignment on that last one, but it's all good.
No, I told you I was going to flip it because I saw what you did. I wanted to flip it because I think if we're talking about long-term impact for a team in free agency, long-term impact,
and
I agree. And what they got back for Cooper is garbage.
Exactly.
Garbage.
Horrible.
I can't believe it.
Horrible.
My point exactly.
Beautiful.
And you know what?
And then Randy Gregory's gone.
Also,
you're not going to be able to get Bobby Wagner.
Also,
because the Ravens are going to sign him.
Also,
yeah.
Also, I got a hot and a cold for that long-term question because I was getting to that, Chris. The Atlanta Falcons, speaking of getting nothing, you got a third-round pick for Matty Ice, a former NFL MVP and a guy that got to a Super Bowl. 3/4 away from actually winning the thing for you, but still, you got a third-round pick for a guy that literally has kept you relevant for how many years? Atlanta's about to get a real big humbling lesson this year. Learn to appreciate what you have when you have it. Because now that it's gone, who are you and what do you have left? That's all.
Oh, you don't think they've learned that lesson yet?
They're about to learn it a lot more.
I smell that. I feel like I think you might be able to smell it, Derrick. I think there's a baker that might be going down to Atlanta sometime soon.
Oh,
I don't know how y'all feel about this one.
That's so Atlanta.
Oh, God.
That's so Atlanta.
I'll take Mariota before I take that.
You got to go from one white guy to the other, right?
I'll take Mariota. They're better off with Mariota. And that's coming from a Titans fan, people. He's better off with Mariota. Don't send Baker to Atlanta, please. Do not.
Well, he would end up being the backup to Mariota at that point.
He doesn't want to be a backup though. That's the problem.
Yeah.
But I think this has been an awesome show. We covered so much things in a unique way. Let me know anyone that's doing this shit, because I don't see anybody doing any of this.
No.
I think it's really important what we did today. I think we showed the range of this show, because we got Curry range out here. I just want to wrap up by saying Conor McGregor's a clown. He's behind bars again. And hey, chat shit, get hit. I don't care that Masvidal is in jail and probably going to get sued for a good amount of money by Kobe
Hmm.
Covington. Hey, you took his tooth. You couldn't do it in the fight. Fuck it. You get what you could get. And I'm gonna make it clear.
Hmm.
This is someone that has said from day one that this is who he is. So anyone that's out
Hmm.
here surprised or outraged, I can't believe Masvidal would do something like this. He's tainting the image of the sport. Let me make this clear. This is someone that's been on record in different interviews saying that he got the best sucker punch in Miami. And guess what? It played out just like that. And now we got two of the biggest stars in MMA locked behind bars. So that's the state of the popularity contest in the MMA world. Because let me get this very straight. While those two guys are the biggest stars probably in the UFC, they're nowhere near the best fighters. So let's get
At
that
all.
clear.
At all. At all. They're both on the decline, actually.
Yep.
And we know how
But
it goes.
is there anything else you guys want to say before we wrap this one up and send them home?
One thing. Shout out Colin Kaepernick. I think hot take if you want to give one. I think he does end up getting signed by Seattle. And seeing him with Lockett in the workout, like that's kind of like a telling thing. I think as long as Lockett signs off, Seattle's gonna try and do something to get him up there. Uh, and I think we're gonna see kind of like a passing of the torch for Seattle. I think Kaepernick resurrects his career.
Dude, that'd be awesome. Dwayne, what you got for
Yeah.
us?
I just want to start off this by saying, hey yo, rest in peace to the late and great legend and pioneer of the NWO, one of the greatest factions of all time, Scott Hall. Rest in peace, man. Didn't really get to cover that, so y'all make sure y'all head over to Life's a Botch for a tribute episode in the future for that. But also, breaking news as of this morning, WWE legend, shout out to OTS as well for also breaking this out as it broke on ESPN First Take this morning through an interview exclusively with Stephen A. Smith. WWE legend, future Hall of Famer, none known to many as the man with three H's as a name, Triple H, announced that he will no longer return to the wrestling ring due to a health issue from a near-death experience at the heart that he suffered last year. And as a result, cannot and will not be back in the ring and is valuing life. So I just want to say to ladies, to everybody, value life while it is here. You just never know when life is going to come and try to either nearly take you out or completely take you out. Always value the life that you have because you never know and tomorrow is never promised. Scott Hall is a living example of that, being able to have your demons while also conquer your demons. We talk all, you guys hear the Sideline guys talk about it all the time with guys like John Jones, so many others. A guy like Scott Hall signifies that you can indeed conquer your demons, and even when life calls you to the next life, you still can show that you were able to conquer those demons that tried to keep you down while you're here on this earth. And class act, gentlemen's there, and yeah, man, it's always a pleasure being here on the Sideline, guys, man.
Yes, sir. I
Yes,
gotta
sir.
take
Love
us
having you.
home with the biggest news that we didn't talk about. I just gotta say, if there's anything I don't want in the NFL this season, it's for the Dolphins to succeed. Because of everything that happened with Brian Flores, I don't want them to do well.
Yeah,
But that was a big move. And
that
when
was
you have
huge.
Teddy Bridgewater as your backup QB, I think he should be starting. And when you add these weapons now, man, I just gotta say Miami got a little bit scarier, and that adds a little bit of depth to an already fucking stacked AFC.
Yeah.
So what a time to be alive. That's all I gotta say. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Please make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe. It's very important. It does so much for us. Make sure you rate us on your podcast platforms as well. I think our growth has been really exciting to watch. Just looking down the feed, you see a lot of different things that pop out, especially from where we were a couple months ago. So I'm just grateful for all the support that we have. Thank you so much for everything.
Sure.
Please continue to show us that love, and we'll continue to deliver the way we always do. So make sure that you check me out at Negron MMA on Twitter. We did it, baby. I hit 250, baby. And I don't know how to
Congratulations,
act now. I don't know how to act. I'm Hollywood. Y'all gonna have to start paying for this MMA content. But in all seriousness, thank you so much for all the love. I can't wait to show you guys what I have coming, because I will admit I've been a little bit busy lately. But things are really looking up for the MMA archive, and a lot of things are changing. So don't get me wrong, the old school breakdowns will be back, but right now we're hitting a little bit of a pause on that. We got a lot going on, and I think it's important to stay on top of these recaps. So look forward to what we got at the MMA archive. Things are changing up a little bit, short term, but long term we're going to be getting right back into that. So I'm excited for you guys to share in that. Also, make sure you check me out on Instagram at chrisnegrong_. Trying to grow that out a little bit more. It's funny, I get more interaction on Twitter with 250 followers on my content than I do with the 500 plus people that I actually know that should give a fuck about me. It's funny how that works, right?
Hey,
But
bro.
shout out to the real ones. They know who they are. I just want to say this real quick. Shout out to Wiz MMA. This guy has, first of all, turn around winning betting slips for the entirety of this year. Every MMA event that has dropped, and it's all public knowledge. You could check it out on his Twitter. He's someone that has less than 100 followers, and I've had him on my show twice, and I just gotta say, the growth from episode 1 to episode 2, I can't wait for you to watch it, Derrick. That dude is on point, so make sure you check him out as well. Wiz MMA on Twitter. That's 2 Z's. Shout out to my boy, and I'll leave it at that. Dwayne, give him your handles, man.
Absolutely. Well, the handles are definitely right here on the screen. Don't know if they'll be able to see that, but you can follow your boy at Dwayne Dickey Jr. on Instagram. Most importantly, man, if you ain't following me, I know Derrick's going to definitely emphasize this a lot more than your boy can. But, as a face, one of the faces of what makes this brand OTS, man, just follow the brand. Follow at all things at OTS Media, man. We just got a heck of a crew. We out here grinding, working hard, pushing people. And listen, if you're a writer, okay, producer, editor, all these things, man, we are always looking for people to bring to this brand to make the team stronger, make things better and easier on my guy Derrick over here. So www.otsmediacode.com. More than anything, go support the brand. Y'all know what to do, man. Salute.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You can follow me at Derrick_OTS. That's DERRICK, the black way to spell it. But most importantly, just like Dwayne said, and like the sign behind me says, follow at OTS Media Co. All social media platforms, OTS Media, YouTube, OTSMediaCode.com. You can check out all the articles, all the other shows that we have on the site. Well, really under the brand, but it's on the site as well. You can check that out. We have a ton of stuff coming out for you guys in the next couple of months, and we would love to hear feedback from you. So please rate, review, subscribe. Let us know what you guys think. But more so than just following, like, we need interaction with all these platforms. We have a couple of brands that are under here, and we're trying to build a lot of stuff up. So if you guys could just drop a couple emojis when you see a post, hit a like, drop an emoji, keep it moving. It doesn't matter, but we just need the interaction. That'll help us do a lot, and especially with the rating and reviewing of each show. Let us know what you guys think. We want to hear from you. So thank you guys for listening and/or watching.
Just like that, we've come to the end of the line this week, but I just got to say, I can't wait to see y'all on the sidelines next week. And just know that helmet over there is going to be spinning. Derrick keeps forgetting, but it's going to be spinning. Look at, come on, bro. I'm a host for a reason, but god damn, let's get the fucking helmet going, man. We're already through. Shit, Stephon Gilmore would have signed already if that helmet was going. I believe it.
My apologies, Stephon. It's going to spin. Just sign, bro.
Thank you for correcting my white way of saying it. I love all of you at home. Have a good one, you guys. Peace.